And you know that Real Madrid is being very aggressive in the market this transfer window, and there's been a injury situation that happens to Nico Schlotterbeck in the game against Cote d'Ivoire, where he has a release clause of 50 million euros. Now, the prospect of him moving to Real Madrid is practically in doubt. And does this make Ruben Dias becomes the number one target for new acquisition of center back in the perspective of Jose Mourinho? And realistically, would Man City let him go, Ben?
I think Man City want to keep Ruben Dias. He has been looked at, though, by Real Madrid. We have to remember that Real have already signed Ibrahim Konate as well on a free transfer. So adding another defender in the long run, yes. But is it a priority right now? Not necessarily, because remember, Marc Cucurella has joined on the left-hand side. He's capable of playing in a central area if needed, as he proved when he inverted for Chelsea in midfield. So the combination of Ibrahim Konate and Marc Cucurella means that from Real Madrid's perspective, they're happy to now focus on other positions away from defence and maybe revisit whether or not they still need another central defender a little bit later in the window. And as you rightly say, Jose Mourinho will inform that decision. But at this stage, I don't think that Diaz and Real Madrid is developing right now. And part of the reason why is because Manchester City don't want to sell. If that changes later in the window after the World Cup, then we'll have to wait and see. But as of now, it's not active, it's not developing, it's not a today, tomorrow story. Real Madrid's next priorities in the market are going to be a central midfielder and possibly a creative attacker as well, with central midfielder being the number one position where they're now trying to strengthen. And we know that there's several candidates. One is, of course, Enzo Fernandez. It's no secret that Enzo Fernandez wants the move to Real Madrid, and it's also no secret that terms between Enzo Fernandez and Real Madrid will not be a problem. But the accurate position as of today is that Real are only set to open talks with Chelsea. So even though they were speaking to them over Marc Cucurella, Enzo Fernandez negotiations have not yet started. And even though the player would love things to be further along, we should point out that there are other candidates for the central midfield. And key to what direction Real Madrid go will be Jose Mourinho, who will be given a fair amount of power in the market. And it may be that he wants an 8 or a 10 like Enzo Fernandez, or a versatile player like Fernandez that can also drop into the 6, because that's where he played at Benfica. But it could be the case that Jose Mourinho asks for more of a defined number 6, and that's where the links with Rodri come. And remember Real Madrid and Rodri, because even though Man City have made an important contract extension for Rodri to stay at Man City, that's not signed yet. And as things stand, Man City don't know whether Rodri wants to stay or go. So Real Madrid could still try and explore Rodri, and that's a different kind of midfielder to Enzo Fernandez. And then you've still got Matheus Fernandez, who's on the list of Real Madrid and possibly PSG and maybe Arsenal. But the two main clubs there, ahead of all of those sides in terms of how advanced they are on the player side at the moment, are Manchester United, West Ham midfielder, key priority for them. And Tottenham have entered that race as well. So Real are going to be faced with, I think, a fascinating dilemma in the centre of the park. What kind of profile do they want? How quickly are they prepared to move? And how much money are they going to spend on that particular profile?